Imagine showing up for your long, demanding shift, ready to care for your patients, only to be sent home without pay because of a simple paperwork oversight. Yeah, no thanks. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into exactly how to navigate the Maryland Certified Nursing Assistant, or CNA, renewal process. As a Maryland CNA, your job is absolutely essential. But we know how it goes. Between back-to-back shifts and prioritizing patient care, admin tasks can easily slip through the cracks. We're here to make sure your career keeps thriving, totally interruption-free.
To really put things into perspective, let's talk numbers. $43,310. That's the average annual salary for a CNA in Maryland right now. Combine that income with the fact that over 6.2 million residents in the state are relying on the crucial care professionals like you provide. Maintaining your certification isn't just a box to check. It's literally the key to protecting your livelihood, your hard-earned income, and the patients who depend on you every single day.
You see, letting your certification lapse is so much more than just a minor administrative headache. As our source material from the CNA Guide explicitly warns, working without valid credentials can lead to serious problems. Letting that status expire can trigger some incredibly severe career consequences, including being immediately suspended from your facility.
So, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to quickly cover why renewal matters right now, Maryland's very unique CNA requirements, the 3 concrete renewal steps, the actual cost of missing your deadline, troubleshooting and state resources, and finally, some key takeaways. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Why Renewal Matters Now. The difference between having an active certification versus an expired one is honestly night and day. Having an active certification means you are legally employable in Maryland healthcare facilities, and you're fully eligible to advance your career. But on the flip side, an expired status means it is literally illegal for you to work as a CNA in Maryland. If you show up with an expired license, you're getting sent home. Plus, letting it lapse can trigger a highly complex and expensive reinstatement process. We definitely want to avoid that. Moving right along to Section 2, Maryland's unique CNA requirements.
Now, if you compare the requirements for registered nurses or licensed practical nurses to those for CNAs in Maryland, there is a massive, and I mean massive difference. RNs and LPNs have to complete 30 continuing education units or CEUs every 2 years. But guess what? As a Maryland CNA, you actually don't need any CEUs to renew. Yep, 0 CEUs. Instead, you just need to prove that you've worked at least 16 paid hours as a nursing assistant in the last 2 years. For anyone juggling work and life, that is a huge relief.
Okay, but you really need to pay close attention to this next part, because there's a brand new requirement kicking in for 2026. The state has now mandated that all renewing CNAs must attest to completing a one-time implicit bias and structural racism training course. And heads up, this absolutely must be taken through a provider that is officially approved by the Maryland Board of Nursing. This is a recent statutory update aimed at improving health equity across the board, so make sure you do not overlook this new checkbox when you pull up your renewal application.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty with Section 3, the 3 renewal steps.
First things first, understanding the timeline here is absolutely crucial. Maryland operates on a birth year and birth month cycle. What that means is your certification always expires on the 28th day of your birth month. You get a nice 90-day window before that date to process your renewal. Once the 28th comes and goes, you enter a very strict 30-day grace period. And trust me, after those 30 days are up, things start getting complicated incredibly fast.
So, the name of the game is knocking out these 3 simple steps while you're still in that window. Step 1, verify your exact deadline via the Maryland Board of Nursing online portal. Step 2, gather up your work verification to prove you've hit those 16 hours, and make sure you've got your documentation for that new training requirement we just talked about. Step 3, fill out the application and pay the $40 processing fee online. The state is currently transitioning over to the MDH chart system, but the core steps, they remain exactly the same. It's $40 and a few clicks if you just handle it on time.
Which brings us to Section 4, the cost of missing your deadline.
Let's say life happens and your certification lapses for more than a year. Well, you instantly lose the privilege of that quick online renewal. Suddenly, you're forced to submit a specialized, old-school paper reinstatement application, and it actually gets worse. You'll be required to undergo a completely brand new criminal background check. That means tracking down a facility, getting fingerprinted all over again, paying extra fees, and ultimately being kept out of work even longer while you wait for it all to clear.
But what if you let it go even longer? Guys, a lapse of 24 consecutive months without performing paid nursing-related services is basically the point of no return. Federal requirements state that hitting this 2-year mark invalidates your certification entirely. In a lot of cases, this means your name is wiped from the registry and you might literally have to sit through a 100-hour training program and retake your competency exams totally from scratch. No one wants to do that.
Okay, let's talk solutions in Section 5, troubleshooting and state resources.
A super common question we see in the sources is, what if you didn't work the required 16 hours over the last 2 years? Maybe you took some well-deserved time off to care for family, or maybe you were just working in a totally different field for a bit. How exactly do you get your license active again?
Well, the good news is, if you're short on those 16 hours, you are not permanently locked out of the profession. Not at all. However, you are going to need to complete a board-approved CNA refresher education program before you can renew. It's basically just to ensure your skills are sharp and still meet the high standards required for patient care in Maryland.
Now, if you hit any weird snags during this whole process, like maybe you need those specific reinstatement forms that aren't posted online, or your background check is weirdly delayed, you need to go straight to the source. Reach out directly to the Maryland Board of Nursing. You can give them a call at 410-585-1900, shoot them an email at mbon.cna@maryland.gov, or check your status directly at lookup.mbon.org. And if you have to mail physical documents, you'll send those to 4040 Patterson Avenue in Baltimore.
And finally, we've reached Section 6, final takeaways and disclaimer.
Let's lock in this quick summary checklist. Renewing is going to cost you $40. You absolutely need those 16 hours of paid work, but remember, no standard CEUs are required. You definitely need to complete that brand new implicit bias and structural racism training. And perhaps most importantly, your deadline is always going to fall on the 28th day of your birth month.
Just a quick reminder as we wrap up. This explainer provides a helpful informational overview based on current source materials. But state regulations can and do update, and systems like that online portal go down for maintenance sometimes. Always consult directly with the Maryland Board of Nursing or a professional advisor to handle your own specific, personalized administrative situation.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Taking literally just 5 minutes right now to log in to the Maryland Board of Nursing portal could honestly save you months of administrative headaches, lost wages, and serious stress. So, will you check your expiration date today to ensure your career remains uninterrupted? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we'll see you next time.